Hello and welcome to today's video where I am just going to tell you guys about the supplies I am taking with me to my trip to Japan for 3 weeks. I asked everyone on Twitter if you were interested in seeing what I was taking, and you were. So I am trying to pack somewhat light for this trip, but I do want to make sure I have everything that I want if I do want to draw. 3 weeks is a long time to not draw, and I'm sure I will have plenty of downtime. Though on the other hand, I do plan on buying so much while I'm there. But with a 12-hour flight, I do want to make sure that I have everything I might want. So let's get into the supplies I am taking with me to Japan. Starting off with my sketchbook, it is a fresh new sketchbook. I just finished my recent sketchbook, so I'm excited to take a new start with me to Japan. Something I'm wanting to do with this sketchbook is sketch only in pen. I used a lot of pen with the Sketchbook Slam Challenge, and I really liked it, but for some reason I kept using pencil in my regular sketchbook. But this one, I want to use pen. This is just a regular Moleskin Journal. There is nothing fancy about it. It's not even made for art. I just really like how thin and cheap it is. I'm just using this to practice and doodle in. I don't need anything fancy. In the back of this sketchbook, there is a pocket, which I am keeping some 5x7 watercolor pieces of paper, just in case I want to create some separate pieces. This sketchbook is a little big, but it fits right into my small backpack that I'm taking, so it's absolutely perfect. Next up, as far as paper goes, I'm also taking this Moleskin watercolor sketchbook. I will have all the links in the description for everything I'm taking. Well, maybe just the main items. I just want to make sure I have something I can doodle in when it comes to watercolor. It's a nice, sturdy watercolor sketchbook. Many pages. I'm hoping I can actually fill this up while I'm in Japan so that I can come back and have a lovely little watercolor sketchbook tour for you guys, but I'm not getting my hopes too high, and you shouldn't either. This sketchbook also has a little sleeve in the back, which I also have some 3.5x5 watercolor pieces of paper, again, just in case I want some loose pieces of paper to doodle on. And also, once again, I'm sure I will be buying plenty while I'm there, so I don't want to take too much and bulk it up. But that is it for my watercolor sketchbook. But the most important part is everything I am taking in my pencil pouch, and I do have this guy quite stuffed. You're probably wondering, Casey, watercolor? Are you going to do a Let's Go video? I am. However, I am not going to be taking my koi travel kit. I'm actually going to be taking this little guy because it's just so much smaller. This is my koi travel kit. It is just really large and really heavy, and like I mentioned, I'm trying to pack a lot smaller and lighter for this trip, as less bulk as possible. So that guy is a lot smaller. I also thought about taking the Derwent travel kit that came in a recent Scrawler box because it's also very, very, very small, but this guy is even smaller. Look at that, the size comparison is crazy. So I figured as much as I do want to take this guy, I think the smaller, the better. Also, no offense, Sakura, I love you, but your darker colors are super chalky and I'm kind of over it. Oops. That said, do you guys want to see what colors I'm taking? Oh wait, it's empty. I actually thought I would make my own palette with my core watercolors because I haven't been using them and I do miss my core, so I thought instead of buying a new travel kit, I would just make my own. So before we get into the rest of the supplies in my bag, let's just make my custom watercolor palette. The colors I decided on with my travel kit had a lot to do with the Derwent travel kit I got in that recent Scrawler box because I loved the colors in those. Unfortunately, the core set doesn't have that really vibrant lime green color that I wanted, but that's fine. I do have sap green and viridian green, and I can always mix that lime green if I really need to. Other than that, I just wanted to get a variety of colors that I was going to use, I suppose, that were really common for mixing, and colors that I knew I used a lot. This might not be the most conventional travel watercolor kit variety, but I do know my tendencies and I do know what I normally end up using. I also didn't fill these pans up too much because I figured this is going to be a travel kit that I just use sometimes and I didn't want to waste the tubes. I am thinking about turning my core set into a pan set because I haven't used it much since I got my Schmincke set because I just don't like opening all of those tubes. So I do think one day I am going to be turning this into a huge core pan set. Something I struggled with choosing was my blue. I have 3 blues in my core set: ultramarine blue, cerulean blue, and phthalo blue. Cerulean blue is the blue I use the most, but for some reason I just wanted to make sure that I could get that vibrancy and darkness that phthalo blue does give. I almost regret it, but I think I'll survive just a few weeks while traveling with that blue. It might seem kind of weird to have Payne's Gray and neutral tint in this set, but Payne's Gray is the color I use for my ants, and I just really like that really dark, almost black, but also sort of blue color. Black is great, but having just that hint of blue is even nicer. Speaking of, you might be wondering why my neutral tint tube is so much bigger than my others. It's not because I use neutral tint a lot. It's because for whatever reason in my core set, the neutral tint was really faulty. It had a tendency to separate into a brown and a black sort of chalkiness. If you let it settle after mixing, it would just split, and then when you tried to use it, you would get a lot of streaks of brown in your art, so that was really annoying. So I thought I would just buy a whole new tube and hope that this one wasn't faulty. Other than that, I just love how earthy this set is. Maybe I'll regret it, maybe not, but I think I really love my mix that I got. That said, I think I'm actually going to go buy another 2 half pans because you can fit another 2 half pans in here. So it seems silly not to. And after putting this together, I realized that the Derwent Travel Water Brush fits right in here, so I'm probably not going to bring the brush I mentioned later on. I forgot to mention also that tiny little palette I bought fits into my pencil pouch and the others don't fit in there, and I'm trying, like I said, pack as light as possible. Because that small palette is way too small to have a small watercolor brush in it, I am having to bring my own watercolor brushes. They are the Pentel water brushes. And as much as I don't like watercolor brushes because I don't like that you can't really control the water in them, I thought, well, it's my only option. I should probably just be bringing one of these, so if I do end up only bringing one, I'd probably bring the smallest size, because the biggest one and medium one are just so much bigger. Look at that, that's a big boy compared to the little one. And I'm not going to be working on any large pieces while I'm abroad, so the smallest one will probably be what I end up bringing. I'm also bringing just 1 Micron Pen Liner. I figure I'll be in Japan, I can probably pick up some more if I want, they'll probably be cheaper. I do like my PN, which stands for plastic nib at the moment. It's not the smallest nib, but you can definitely get a variety of sizes with it, so that's what I like most about the Micron PN. I'm also bringing a small roll of washi tape because I figure this will be an easy way to bring sort of painter's tape with me. Washi tape is pretty small, so I figured it would be compact to take. So like I mentioned earlier, I am going to do my best to only sketch and pen with my new sketchbook. So I am bringing all of my Muji colored pens with me because I want to make sure that, well, I just want to have fun with this sketchbook, and the more colors, the better, right? As far as pencils go, I have my trusty Sakura 0.7 pencil. That's about all I need. Somehow that reminded me that I'll probably also need lead, so I have this Pentel 0.7B lead. As far as erasers go, I am taking this Muji eraser that you peel the paper away from. I just think it's really slender and compact, so I really like that. I'm also taking, of course, a kneaded eraser because I really like kneaded erasers when it comes to watercolor, and this one came in a little plastic container, which is good for it not sticking on things. And even though I said I was packing light, I have a few odds and ends in here. We have a little ruler in case I want to do straight things and measure things. My compass, because I really like to do circles and background things. Like I said, probably shouldn't bring it, but I'm probably going to. And last but not least, this little Muji pocket scissor, just in case I want to cut some paper or something. It's always nice to have some scissors with you when you travel anyways. So this guy is compact, and I like it. So that is everything that fits into my pencil pouch. I said minimal, but this actually looks like quite a bit. As much as I don't like haul videos, I'm probably going to be buying so much art supplies while I'm in Japan, so let me know in the comments. And here is a poll. Do you want to see a art supply haul when I come back from Japan? And honestly, by the time you see this video, I will be in Japan. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments, what sort of supplies do you have to have when you travel? What are your must-have art supplies? Things you cannot live without, even for a few days. I really want to take my Posca pens, but I figured I'm going to be there and I want to buy more, and I want to pack light, so I'm going to have to go with my watercolors instead. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!